Every expensive repair I have ever seen in 22 years as a mechanic started as something cheap that somebody ignored. A $30 part becomes a $4,000 engine job. A $60 fluid change becomes a $5,000 transmission. A $100 sensor becomes a $4,500 catalytic converter. Today, I'm going to show you 8 cheap fixes that prevent the most expensive repairs in the car business. Your dealer knows about every single one of these. They will never tell you because they make their money on the big repair. They make their money on the big repair, not the small prevention. If you own a Toyota, Honda, Subaru, Lexus, Hyundai, Kia, or Mazda, this video could save you $10,000 to $20,000. This video could save you $10,000 to $20,000 over the life of your car. This video could save you $10,000 to $20,000 over the life of your car. Let me show you how. Number 8. The serpentine belt. This single rubber belt runs your alternator, power steering pump, and water pump. It costs $20 to $30 at any parts store. Replacing it takes a competent person about 20 minutes. When this belt snaps, everything it drives stops working simultaneously. Your alternator dies, which kills the battery. Your water pump stops, which overheats the engine. Your power steering locks up, making the car impossible to steer. And if you are on the highway when it happens, you are in serious danger. I had a customer drive in with a snapped belt on a Honda Accord. The engine overheated for less than 2 minutes. The water pump seized and damaged the housing. The tensioner pulley shattered and scored the bracket. Total repair, $1,400. The belt itself had visible cracks that any mechanic could have spotted. Inspect your serpentine belt every oil change. Look for cracks, fraying, or glazing on the smooth side. Replace it every 60 to 75,000 miles or at the first sign of wear. $25 or $1,500, your choice. Number 7. The engine air filter. This is the simplest maintenance item on your car, and one of the most neglected. A clogged air filter restricts airflow to the engine, which forces the computer to dump extra fuel. That kills your gas mileage. And puts stress on the fuel system. But here is what most people do not know. If you install an aftermarket oiled filter, the oil from that filter can migrate onto the mass airflow sensor. The mass airflow sensor measures exactly how much air is entering. When it gets contaminated, it sends incorrect readings. The engine runs rough, the check engine light comes on, and the repair is $200 to $400 for a new sensor. Use the factory paper air filter. Replace it every 15 to 20,000 miles. It costs $15 to $20 and takes 60 seconds to swap. Never use an oiled aftermarket filter unless you enjoy paying $400 for a sensor replacement. Number 6. Brake fluid. Your dealer has probably never mentioned this, and that silence is costing you thousands. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air over time. That moisture does 2 things. First, it corrodes your brake lines. You cannot see this corrosion until the line blows and you lose braking pressure. Second, it lowers the boiling point. That means hard braking down a steep hill can make your brake pedal go soft right when your life depends on it. A brake fluid flush every 3 years costs $100 to $200. Skip it, and you are looking at $600 lines or seized calipers. Grease the caliper slider pins once a year with silicone brake grease. This prevents the single most common brake repair, a seized caliper. This prevents a seized caliper that drags, overheats, and destroys the rotor and pads on one side. Number 5, and this is the one I named the video after, the coolant flush and thermostat replacement. Combined cost, $50. Coolant breaks down over time. It turns acidic. That acid quietly eats away at the aluminum inside your engine block. On a Toyota, Honda, or Subaru, you will never know anything is wrong until your temperature gauge spikes. And by then, you are already doing damage. A coolant flush every 50,000 miles prevents this. But here is the trick. Every time you flush the coolant, replace the thermostat too. When a thermostat sticks closed, coolant stops flowing, the engine temperature skyrockets, the cylinder head warps, the head gasket blows. On a Subaru with the older engine, it can hit 4,000 because the flat design requires tearing the entire motor apart. A $30 thermostat or a $4,000 head gasket repair. I have watched customers make the wrong choice. Do not be one of them. Number 4, transmission fluid. And this is where the auto industry tells you its biggest lie. If your manual says the fluid is sealed for life, understand what lifetime means to the manufacturer. It means the life of the warranty, 60 to 100k miles. After that, they do not care if the transmission self-destructs. They call it lifetime fluid because it sounds premium. In reality, they just removed the dipstick. This is a business decision. The manufacturer wants low ownership costs on paper. The dealer wants you back for a $5,000 replacement. The million-mile Honda Accord owner changed his transmission fluid 31 times, every 32,000 miles. The transmission never failed. A drain and fill every 30 to 50,000 miles costs $60 to $100. Use manufacturer-specific fluid, Honda for Honda, Toyota for Toyota. If you have a Nissan with a CVT from 2007 to 2016, pay extra attention. Fluid is the only thing keeping them alive, $80 or $5,000. Number 3, the oxygen sensor. This is the repair I see people delay more than any other because the car still drives fine. When a sensor fails, the light comes on, the car feels normal. Most people ignore it. That is a catastrophic mistake. A failing sensor sends incorrect data. The computer responses by dumping too much fuel. That unburned fuel goes straight into the catalytic converter. The catalytic converter overheats. Over weeks and months, the catalyst material breaks down and the converter fails. Replacement costs up to $4,500. And here is the kicker. Catalytic converter theft is common now. If yours fails, you are paying top dollar for a part in short supply. All because of a $200 sensor. Number 2, wheel bearings. This one sneaks up on people because the symptom is just a noise. Most people turn up the radio. That is wrong. A failing wheel bearing starts as a low hum that gets louder with speed. If it fails completely, the wheel can lock up or separate at highway speed. Caught early, it costs $300. Let it go, and damage spreads to the hub assembly and CV axle. Now you are looking at $2,000. Diagnose it now. This week. And number 1, the single most important habit that separates cars that hit 500,000 miles from cars that die at 150. It costs $0. Pay attention to the light. Every expensive repair I have ever seen started as something cheap that somebody ignored. The oxygen sensor, the coolant leak, the transmission shudder, all of them. A 500,000-mile Toyota Camry owner in Florida summed it up. Anytime something does not sound or feel right, take it to the mechanic immediately. That is the secret. A diagnostic scan at most auto parts stores is free. They will tell you the code and what is wrong. Fix it before it cascades into something catastrophic. This discipline costs absolutely nothing. Let me put the entire chart together. Belt, $25 versus $2,500. Filter, $20 versus $400. Brake flush, $150 versus $3,000. Coolant, $50 versus $4,000. Transmission, $80 versus $5,000. Sensor, $150 versus $4,500. Bearing, $300 versus $2,000. Light, free versus $10,000. Total cost to maintain, under $800. Total cost if you ignore, over $35,000. Over the life of your car, that is the difference between 300,000 miles or scrapping it early. The total cost to maintain a reliable Japanese car is about 7 cents per mile. Be smart. Subscribe for more secrets. Tell me, which of these fixes have you been ignoring? I will see you in the next one.